UGLY, do you got an alibi? I don't know. That win was ugly. Yeah, it was ugly. As the chant goes, man, oh man, the Bengals pull one out. They needed it. They needed this win very, very badly. And if you watch this show, if you watch our other episodes from this week, etc., we talked about the big difference between 3-3 and 2-4. You know, obviously you can come back from a 2-4 start. You can come back, continue to get momentum and turn your season around. But 3-3 is much easier when you have San Francisco coming right out of your bye, which is next week, the bye. San Francisco coming right out of your bye. And then, oh, by the way, you've got the Buffalo Bills. Then you start getting into more divisional games. You've got the Kansas City Chiefs, all that. You got to collect as many wins as you can right now at the beginning of the year here, as you get into the bye and then get into that back end daunting stretch. I'm Anthony Cosenza. This is the Orange and Black Insider, part of the Cincy Jungle Podcast Network. And man, did we have an interesting one today. We're going to break it down. We're going to show you the box score. We're going to show you a couple of different things here. It was a lot of fun until it wasn't. If you're a Bengals fan today, there was a lot to like. Early? Well, there was not a lot to like to begin the game. And then the offense really showed up. Then the defense started playing well. And then the offense started really not playing well. And then the defense played very, very well down the stretch. And there you go. That's kind of the tune. But the Bengals beat the Seahawks 17-13 at home, get to 3-3. That is the bottom line here. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. If you are new here, welcome. You can get this show along with the others on the Cincy Jungle Podcast channel on your favorite audio streamer, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all of the major ones. We are there, or right down here. If you want to go down and subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do so. Hit the show icon, click subscribe, click the bell to be notified when we go live and when new content is available. We appreciate that. And also give a thumbs up to the Cincy Jungle Facebook page as well. We appreciate that. But here we go. The Bengals, man, oh man. This was a really, really frustrating game. And this was a game that I feel like I probably feel like, regardless of whatever side of the fence you're sitting on, I feel like you're probably like, man, should have had this one, or this one should have been in the bag a lot earlier. And if you're the Seahawks, you're like, man, we were down there. We had a 4th and goal. And little did you know you were going to get the ball back and drive all the way down again. So, I mean, then on that 4th and goal, instead of going for it, maybe you kick the field goal, take your chances, and then you go down there again. You kick the field goal again, potentially, and there's your win. But they didn't do that. So, man, oh man, my guy, Strawberry Ice, my guy, Jeff Trenopole. What's going on, Jeff? Man alive, this was just like, you felt like the Bengals had so many chances to take control of this game. So many chances to just absolutely get a stranglehold on this game, and they didn't do it. And it really, truly was at the feet of the offense that they did not do it. And I'll show you a drive summary in just a minute as to why that is. I mean, man, they just could not get out of their own way in this game. Lot to like, right? The first couple of drives by the offense, awesome. Burrow looked really, really sharp on those drives. The defense did not look sharp on that opening drive, were completely on their heels, and then absolutely took it to Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks as more time went on. And ultimately, that is where this win should be credited. We'll show the stats, but our guy, Cam Taylor-Britt, you saw him in the opening credits there from an appearance he made with us when he was a rookie. That dude just played the game of his life. I mean, one of the best individual Bengals cornerback performances I have seen in a very long time. That was and I don't mean to be exaggeratory in saying that. That was an outstanding performance by Cam Taylor-Britt today. Additionally, outstanding performances from the Bengals defensive line and from Logan Wilson. I thought they all played well. I thought Dax Hill had some nice moments in this one. There were some others where you go, man, I thought the officiating, not to, put that into hold. I thought that was very inconsistent today. And there were some cool, the DJ Reader roughing the passer call. You go, man, what was that? The T. Higgins pass interference call late in the game. You go, really? And I'm sure there's some others on the Seattle sideline where they probably feel the same way. Inconsistently called today. So, man, I know it wasn't pretty, and it's really, really funny because if you look at your Twitter timeline, if you're on Twitter, you see a lot of people who either cover the Bengals or Bengals fans or both, where they go, man, Joe Burrow's back. He's back. Look at this. Oh man, look at the start. Burrow is back. The Bengals are back, and they were just rolling. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting texts. I'm getting things, Burrow and the Bengals are struggling. Oh, I don't know what this means going forward. Oh, they better sit him and rest him. And it's like how odd things can change and how quickly things can change in a matter of, a 15-minute quarter. So, look, sometimes, again, when your quarterback may or may not be 100%, when your team is not playing up to potential, you just got to find a way. And let's be honest, even though Seattle didn't play their best game, Seattle's a good football team. That is a good football team the Cincinnati Bengals beat today. Make no mistake about it. And there may not be a lot of household names. There may not be a lot of names that are readily recognizable from Bengals fans' perspectives. That is a good football team. And I know 14 points doesn't do it justice when I say that. And I know, you go, oh, Geno Smith and 4 sacks and all this stuff. That's a solid football team. What really diminished today, unfortunately, and it's out of control, it's out of everybody's control. Orlando Brown, star left tackle, leaves the game with a groin injury. DK Metcalf leaves the game. T. Higgins definitely not 100%. Joe Burrow maybe not 100%. So you got a lot of your star players either leaving the game or, not coming into the game, not 100%, that sort of thing. So it kind of diminishes things a bit. But you get a win. You needed that win. And you get into the bye at 500. You get to rest up for a couple of weeks here. And then hopefully everything is recharged as you go to the 49ers here coming up. Let's go to the box score. Actually, I'm gonna do this first. There's a couple of quotes to that the Bengals brain trust, Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, talked about here going forward. And you see Zach Taylor here. This is on Cincy Jungle. Zach Taylor has the perfect quote for the Bengals' ugly win over Seattle, and I will pin this in the live chat for you so you can check out that story. Here is the quote, and this is via Caleb Noe of he covers the Bengals for one of the local channels here. Better to win ugly than to lose pretty. I mean, cliche, but that is 100%. And that is, quite honestly, something I told someone that texted me today about, oh, I'm worried about the Bengals. I'm worried about Burrow. I'm worried about what their offense looks like, yada, yada, yada. And I said, you win and you continue to get healthy, good things are going to happen. If you keep losing, it doesn't matter. Style points don't really matter at this point. It's like, the Miami Dolphins, they were down 14-0 today to the winless Carolina Panthers, and they came back and won by, I think, I don't know, a couple touchdowns. So, is everybody? I mean, are we collecting style points right now, or are we collecting wins and losses? That's kind of what you need to ask yourself here. And then again, better to win ugly than lose pretty. Zach Taylor putting it excellently into perspective, even though it is a cliche and a little bit of a, something you hear a lot. But here's another one, and this is from Joe Burrow. I think, if I remember correctly, and I haven't had a chance to really look into this one, this might have been when CBS caught him after the game here, but he calls the second half offense, quote, horrible, but will not apologize for winning. And here's the drive summary. We're going to talk about this in a minute. But he said, here's Mike Petraglia talking about it. So it was in the post-game presser. He calls the offense in the second half horrible. Everything is ahead of us. I'll never apologize for winning, nor should you, number 9. You should not apologize for winning. Doesn't matter. And you should not apologize for winning against a good team, because look at what happened across the state. And I was watching with a friend of mine that game as well as the Bengals game. Look at what happened across the state in the city of Cleveland today. The Bengals needed some help with those 49ers that they are facing after the bye. And they did not get it. Brock Purdy got his first loss as an NFL quarterback, which is insane to say out loud, at Cleveland, with the Browns playing their third-string quarterback, P.J. Walker. P.J. Walker was the guy who came in and started for the Carolina Panthers last year when the Bengals hosted them at Paycor. And 49ers had a chance to win it, and they had a last-second field goal. I think it was 40-some yards, that sort of thing, and didn't convert. So, I mean, how many style points you want them to get? How many? Does that matter? I mean, they would have taken the ugliest win of all time there to get out of there and remain undefeated, and that did not happen. So those are a couple of quotes coming out of the Bengals locker room after the game there. Here's the box score. And I credit ESPN.com for this to show you all this. I just like how they break everything down here. This is a little surprising to me. And I'm talking about Joe Burrow's stat lines because in the first half, he was on fire. I think at one point he was 14 of 16. Dude was dealing. Jamar Chase was on fire in that first half, namely the first quarter and first half of the second quarter. 24 of 35, 185, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, did take 3 sacks and an 88.4 rating. The interception was, I found it to be pretty egregious. I mean, he just threw it to Chase and Chase was blanketed at that point. I understand that this is happening here. I understand that this is happening here with a, you want to get Chase the ball. He's showing you that he's the guy that you want to get the ball to, and you want to feed him the rock as evidence from last week. But when you see this 24 of 35, 185, and then the interception was just Mixon, not a great game on the ground. A couple of key first downs, but that was about it. The long run of the day from anybody was 5 yards. Pretty inexcusable. 12 carries, 38 yards, 3.2 yards per carry for Joe Mixon. Chase Brown, 1 carry for 4, 2 for 4. You did see Joe scramble around on a couple of occasions and move around and, get out of pressure and all that kind of stuff. So that was nice to see, but just a pretty, as it went for about 2.5 quarters to conclude the game, pedestrian at best for the Bengals offense, and that is concerning. So they got to get stuff together there. Geno Smith, 27 of 41. He did throw for over 300, 323, but 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, was sacked 4 times, and a quarterback rating of 69.5. I'm going to show you a stat in a minute that'll blow your mind on what the Bengals defense was able to do to Geno Smith and that offensive line, who had Charles Cross back, by the way. Cincinnati Bengals defense came in 31st against the run in terms of total rushing yards allowed. They did a pretty dang good job today against the run, against a team that can run the ball well. Kenneth Walker III, 19 carries, 62 yards, did have a touchdown, but only a 3.3 yards per carry average. Smith scrambled a few times, 4 for 20, Charbonnet, not a factor at all. 2 carries, 5 yards, 2.5 yards per carry. Their long was from Kenneth Walker, 21 yards. But again, 3.3 yards per carry from him. You take that all day. You take that all day. Then you look at the receiving. Tyler Lockett, who has had made a good living against the Cincinnati Bengals at their expense there, had a good game today. 6 catches, 94 yards, a 36-yard gain. Look, the Cincinnati Bengals defense played largely outstanding today, save for the first drive and a couple of other moments. But this 36-yard gain was on the heels of, I believe, it was a personal foul or some sort of 15-yard penalty that put the Seahawks in a big, big hole. And this is one of those areas where you go, man, you just kept letting them bail themselves out. I think it was second in forever. 36-yard gain down the sideline. Awuzie just looked a little lost in coverage on that one. So inexcusable play there. But regardless, the Bengals held them in check for the most part. Metcalf, I don't know what his deal was today. He just was mouthing off, and his body language was all over the map today. DK Metcalf, 4 catches, 69 yards, did have a 30-yarder, left the game early after a ball thrown to the sideline of the end zone, and a couple of defenders fell on him. And I know he got the 4 catches for 69 yards and a 30-yarder, and Cam Taylor-Britt was largely responsible for covering him, but Cam Taylor-Britt was just outstanding today. Absolutely outstanding. The rookie, Jackson Smith and Jigba, 4 for 48. This guy, Jake Bobo, I was not aware of this guy at all going into this game. 2 catches for 43. Dude was tough as nails. 2 tough catches, including one where he took one to the chops and tacked on another 15 yards to a big catch he made. Was not aware of this guy at all, quite honestly. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm ignorant. Just a guy was not on my radar at all with the Seattle Seahawks, and he had 2 big catches to set up scores for them there. I think a touchdown, and then I think it was maybe the Cam Taylor-Britt interception, actually. But man, 2 big catches for him. Chase, 6 for 80. Really good first half, as it was with everybody. 6 for 80. Boyd, kind of a nice game. 7 catches for 38. Was maneuvering around. Did have the touchdown. Mixon got more involved in the passing game. 3 for 24. Higgins just 2 for 20. He looked a little bit limited, and there were some issues there a little bit. Chase Brown did have an 8-yard catch early as well. Irv Smith just 1 for 5. You just see it. And then, of course, Yoshi, the 3-yard catch for his first NFL touchdown. Congratulations to him, I guess, on his birthday as well. So congratulations to him. Let's take a look at the defense, because this is where things really told the tale in this game, especially for the Bengals. And you look at Bobby, by the way, Bobby Wagner, I know he's 33 years old. If you saw what he was doing coming into this game, he was double-digit tackles at least. And then some. I think one game he had like 18 or 19 tackles in the game. He has been all over the place. Absolute non-factor today. 4 total tackles. Logan Wilson, look at this stat line. 11 total tackles, 9 of the solo variety, 1 sack, 2 total tackles for loss. Unreal. Dax Hill, 8 total tackles, 2 passes defended. Look at Cam Taylor-Britt. Interception, 7 total tackles, 3 passes defended. Wow, wow, wow. And then look at Sam Hubbard. 7 total tackles, 4 solo, 1 sack, 5 quarterback hits. 5. Jermaine Pratt in there for 6. And then you look down to Trey Hendrickson. He is just heating up. 4 total tackles, 1 sack, 3 total tackles for loss. I mean, you see here, Reeder shouldn't have been penalized on that one. 4 total tackles for him. BJ Hill had a pressure or a hit late, I think, or he knocked out a ball from Geno Smith. So a good game from him. The defensive line just really, really played well. Camp Sample also getting in the mix, a sack. 2 quarterback hits for him as well. Look at this stat line right here. 13 quarterback hits. 13. 4 sacks. I think it's 8 tackles for loss. 13 quarterback hits. Now, the Seahawks had 3, and they had 6 hits on Burrow. That is just an unbelievable stat. 13 quarterback hits. Geno Smith was harassed today, and then you see the interception here by Britt, another great one from Mike Hilton. Here's the concerning thing about this, and we will talk a lot about this in just a second. You have 2 interceptions in a game against a really good team and against a quarterback who really takes care of the ball really well, or has been taking care of the ball really well in Geno Smith since he's been with the Seahawks. You netted 3 points off of him. Now, the Taylor Britt interception was deep in their own territory. I get it. Actually, I think both were pretty deep in their own territory, but still 3 points off of 2 turnovers. You got to be a little bit better than that. You got to be better than that. Not much to speak on in terms of kick returns. Travion had a decent one for 27 yards. That was it. Irwin, and then, of course, McPherson, perfect on the day, including a clutch 52-yarder. Needed that one. Robbins did pretty well with the punting today. Only 1 inside the 20 of 6, but did have a 55-yarder, a better output for him than we've seen before. So you like to see that. Okay, I want to show you this here because this is just, and we can talk about, we can go in depth on plays, but okay. So look, Seattle marches down the field, really methodical, great drive, just had the Bengals defense on their heels. What was it? How many plays was that? 11 plays, 75 yards, boom, touchdown. You're going, oh, man. Bengals, touchdown. Look at that. Just nice 13-play drive, march down the field, force a punt, boom, 7 plays, 73 yards. Nice, awesome. Force another punt, and you go, okay, there's your chance right there to really, okay, let's get 3. Let's really start kind of building our lead. Let's kind of, okay, well, no, punt, 5 plays. Then they give up the field goal. This sequence right here before the half was absolutely maddening to me. Now, granted, thankfully, initially I thought that this pass where Drew Sample was going out of bounds, I thought that they gifted Seattle, the guy was going, tackled out of bounds, and they stopped the clock for him again. But thankfully, that was not the case. Timeout by Seattle. Man, oh, man. 1st and 10 with 43 yards, incomplete pass, so you stop the clock. Another incomplete pass to T. Higgins. You stop. You go, dude, all of a sudden, they are in business. They are in business, the Seattle Seahawks. Just maddening sequence there. Then you start quarter 2, and you go, okay, let's get out of the half, and let's figure it out, right? You come out, interception, that egregious throw where Chase was blanketed. Then they throw an interception as they march down the field a bit. So you go, okay, let's start getting things under control. Punt, then field goal, punt, you get another interception. Thankfully, you get that field goal, and that was kind of the difference there. Then punt. I mean, look at this sequence. It's punt right before the half. You come out of the half, interception, punt, field goal, punt, end of game. You kneel down. That is a grotesque, an absolutely grotesque of series for the Bengals offense there. Just horrible sequence of offense to end the game there. I don't know what it is, because late in that game, there were opportunities, and we've talked about, Joe Burrow said, hey, this is the best I've ever felt since the injury. We're getting close. We got the bye on the horizon, all that kind of stuff. I know he had 3 sacks, and you go, okay, well, there was some pressure there. And I know Orlando Brown left. Cody Ford was in actually at left tackle. There were some pressure issues. Left guard was an issue today. I see some people talking about that. Still, there were opportunities. I counted about at least 3, maybe 4 throws late in the game in the second half. Burrow was just a click or 2 behind guys, and they were open. Now, one was, one kind of had some guys in front of Chase, I think, but there were a couple of others on slants and other things where it looked crossers, where it looked like the guy was open, could have had, an easy completion, and Burrow was just a tad behind them. And that is where you have to start hitting. You can't see. Seattle's a good team. I do not think they are as good as San Francisco, as Kansas City, as Buffalo. They're good. They're a well-rounded team, but I think those other teams, because of who their quarterback is, for the most part, I think those teams are, a tier above, a notch above, that sort of thing. This has to be figured out. This was a foot on the throat type of opportunity throughout. There were many of those throughout this game, and you needed to take advantage of it, and you did not. I mentioned to you in that where it was 2 touchdown drives to the Seahawks won. They forced another punt. You have the ball. I think it's early second quarter. You had an opportunity to really start asserting yourself. Home field, the crowd was loud. You had an opportunity to really do that and get even 3 points. Okay, let's make it a 2-possession game. And you just didn't. And there were opportunities after opportunities where they were plus 1 in the turnover margin. You got 4 sacks. You had 13 quarterback hits. It felt like the Bengals dominated this one a bit more than than the score would indicate. So as you face these other quality opponents, this was a quality opponent. As you face these other quality opponents, you need to take advantage. You really do. I see a question in here about is there an update on Orlando Brown? I will share this with you all as well. This is on cincyjungle.com. There is a positive update. It didn't look like something severe because he was still out there in pads and everything at the end of the game. But this is a positive update here from Orlando Brown after leaving the game with an injury. But here you go. Update: Orlando Brown Jr. did not return to the Bengals win over the Seattle Seahawks, but he doesn't expect to miss time due to the groin injury after the win. Brown told reporters he expects to be back following the team's bye in Week 7. It also sounds like it has been a lingering issue for Brown, so hopefully the extra week of rest will allow him to be close to 100% against the Niners. And that may make sense because if it has been a lingering issue, we have seen a little bit of a dip in play. Now, not so much this week, but a little bit of a dip in play. And I say that we'll have to go back and look at the tape and see exactly what happened there. But a little bit more of a dip in play, pressure's given up, etc., of late as opposed to early in the season. So that would make a little more sense. But Kelsey Conway of the Cincinnati Enquirer reports Orlando Brown just told me he'll be back after the bye. He's dealing with a groin injury, so he'll be okay. It's more okay. Again, kind of like with Burrow, is this a nagging thing? How long is this going to hang around? What's the problem? All of that. So I am interested in seeing what, if anything, the Bengals do trade deadline wise, because that's coming up here. There's talk about Volson. There's talk about tight end. There's talk about backup running back. There are some areas where the Bengals could address, and there are teams potentially that are looking to fire. Oddly enough, there was a report out there by Diana Rossini, who I think now is with the Athletic, saying the Jets are looking to potentially offload Carl Lawson. And when you see, I like Carl Lawson a lot. I thought he was good. I think he's a good player. I thought he was a fun player for the Bengals as well. But when you look at the move that the Bengals made and what the Bengals have done since, and it's not just Carl Lawson, obviously, but, the Trey Hendrickson move, pivoting off of Lawson for Hendrickson, that has paid off over and over again for the Bengals. And so it's interesting to hear that the Jets may be interested in moving Carl Lawson. So a team like the Jets, team like the Broncos, they have assets that they are looking to potentially sell off, so to speak. And we'll see if they pounce. I am interested to also see if the Bengals make positional changes or what they do at certain spots after the bye, because usually the bye week is the time where you go, hey, we're going to make a change, and we're going to use this extra week to study up, to make sure we're all, if we're going to make a change, that person is as comfortable as possible if they're getting a bigger role. And so when you look at some things on this team, is that Jordan Battle in lieu of Nick Scott? Is that are those some of the wide receivers? What's happening at tight end? Yeah, I mean, this is another one. A lot of people are saying this, can you go get Pirine? Pirine thought the grass was greener on the other side, and he thought he'd get a lot more touches in Denver. And I'm telling you, it ain't happening. It ain't happening on a number of different fronts. So, and he had a fumble the other night as well, which was, is what it is. But look, you take the win. You like this one because it's against a quality opponent. But you have to clean things up on offense. You have to start asserting yourself when special teams makes a big play. The complementary football aspect, right? Your defense bails you out. You got to pick it up, and you got to get a score. You got to get points. You have to embrace that mentality, at least to some point. And like I said, 2 turnovers, just 3 points off of them. Granted, they were both deep. They ended up kind of being like punts anyway, because they were both, deep in their own territory. But man, you got to, when you get those turnovers, those are momentum changing plays. And so you got to take advantage of that kind of stuff. When you get the sacks and you get off the field on a 4th and goal, at least sustain a drive to close it out. Not even at that point, you don't even need to get points. Just sustain a drive to close it out. And you didn't even do that. So again, we're having some, I'm looking in the comment section. I'm seeing stuff about Zach and Brian Callahan and play calling, and it's stuff they've got to go back to the well these next couple of weeks while they have time to really analyze and review some stuff. I mean, you look at some of the stat lines and you go, how is this team 3-3, quite honestly? And it's really just talent. It's just raw talent because they're not executing at a high level, at least not on offense. The defense has had 3, I would say 2.5 to 3 excellent performances, and then 3 not so great ones, three pretty bad ones. And statistically, in terms of ranking and everything, they're pretty low offensively, against the run, overall, everything. So you go, man, how is this team really 3-3 at this point? How are they 3-3? And they're not taking advantage of, a lot of different things. Really, when things were playing out the best, complementary football done at its finest was against Arizona. That's kind of right now the shining beacon. And that was imperfect because they had a couple of touchdowns called back there. They were not great against the run on that one. So they better start figuring some stuff out and figuring it out quickly because, again, 3 more division games coming up. I'm sorry, 4 more division games coming up because they have not faced the Steelers yet. Kansas City, San Francisco, Buffalo. Tough schedule ahead. Tough schedule ahead. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of defense was amazing. And as we talked about earlier this week, I think we need to alter our expectations of what this defense is, who they are, what they do. And that is essentially that they'll give up some more big plays, but they'll create more big plays, more turnovers, more sacks than maybe we've been accustomed to the past couple of years, especially last year. Last year was more solid, get off the field, via stopping a drive, get the punt, and then give the offense the ball. This year is more, we got to create the big plays. Offense is struggling. We got to create the big plays, create the field position, get off even if we bend, we got to get off the field and not allow points, that sort of thing. So, honest fan here says they need some interior defensive line juice. I agree. I thought BJ Hill played pretty decent today, though. had a nice play later, but they just need depth. They need to get pressure from the inside. They need to get guys that are, and granted, Reader's amazing, but he's not your pass rush specialist, even though he has been a better pass rusher than advertised coming to the Bengals. But you need extra guys that can give you effective rotational snaps. So Bengals win 17-13, a thriller. Seattle went all the way down the field again at the end there, and Bengals held on. Cam Taylor-Britt was probably your MVP in this one. If you don't want to vote for him, then probably Trey Hendrickson or Sam Hubbard. 5 quarterback hits from Sam Hubbard. Man, he was all over the place. Trey Hendrickson, 3 tackles for loss and a sack. You gotta like what the defense gave you today. You have to be concerned going forward about the sustainability of what the offense is doing. And even when the offense hit the skids towards the very end of the second quarter and through the rest of the game, it wasn't like, oh man, they just aren't, it's not working through the air. But we're able to get some yards on the ground. That even wasn't there. It was a complete shutdown of that offense. And I know that the Seattle defense is tough. I know that they've got a good secondary. I know they've got good players everywhere. But pretty inexcusable to score 3 points through 2.5 quarters and multiple chances. Your defense gave you multiple chances to really start pulling away and really start asserting yourself, really start making this a 2-possession game, a 3-possession game, that sort of thing, a double-digit lead type of thing. They had opportunities galore. And hey, I haven't been watching, but maybe the Seattle side is saying, man, we should have won this game. This should have been ours. And because they're probably looking at, man, look at how the Bengals offense was shut down in the second half. Look at how close this was. We came down there twice, 4th and goal. We missed it. Then we came down there again, another 4th and goal for the win. And, you kick 2 field goals, you win that game. I get it. But I think both sides of the coin can be true there. And I think the Bengals feel like, yeah, we're happy we won, but this should have been more decisive than it was. Should have been more decisive. But that's going to do it. We got to get out of here. I'm Anthony Cosenza. This has been the Cincy Jungle post-game report. Bengals beat the Seahawks, go to 3-3. They beat them 17-14. So excellent job by them. And hey, you got to figure that while it sounds like they're upset. By the way, it's at 17-14. It was 17-13. You got to figure that the offense was upset. The team is upset maybe about the output, the end result, the end score, the style points, all that kind of stuff. But you got to take the W. You got to take that and build upon it in the bye week. And I hope that the Bengals do that. I hope that they realize, hey, this is what's working and this is what's not. The good news is getting the ball to Chase more often than not is working very, very well, save for 1 interception today. It's working very, very well. So they got to work on that. Boyd came alive a bit today. That was nice to see. And, hopefully Higgins takes another couple of weeks here to heal up that rib, and everybody's kind of at full strength going in here out of the bye. Big game out of the bye with the Bengals going to San Francisco and playing them. So at any rate, again, I'm Anthony Cosenza. This is the Orange and Black Insider, part of the Cincy Jungle Podcast Network. You can subscribe to this show via YouTube. Right down here underneath that Cincy Jungle icon, there is a show icon. Click that to subscribe. Click the bell to be notified when we go live and when new content is available. If you like the videos and what we're doing, give it a thumbs up if you would. If you like the audio side of things, you can get this show on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all of the major ones. We are there. Keep it to cincyjungle.com for all your news, opinions, analysis, and podcasts. Not only this one, Talking Football with Bengal Jim and Friends, Coach Speak and Chalk Talk with Matt Minnick, and, of course, 3 and Out with Jason and Kevin Catch 'em all. Appreciate all of you. Bengals are at 3-3. This is about a best case scenario that we could hope for. As of a couple of weeks ago, obviously, we wanted them to maybe be 4-2, if not better. But, hey, 3-3, you got to take that. You got some hard games coming down the stretch, so they got to clean some things up, but we'll take it right now. They are in the thick of things, and this was a tough game. Tough opponent, tough win. I felt like it was going to be kind of this margin of victory if the Bengals or either team, 3-4 points. But I thought it was going to be like, 27-30, 34-31, that sort of thing. Not necessarily 17-13, but it is what it is. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of the football that is on tap. And we will be back with all kinds of stuff throughout the week on this show and on many others on the Cincy Jokel Podcast Network. Take care.